Okay, here we go. The Ben and Maggie Show.
He's about to get crazy and wild. Stay for a while. Don't touch your radio dial.
Ben and Maggie Show.
Kicking it back, sports talk. Listen to that and stay tuned for some giggles and laughs. Go.
It's about some chicken hick from out of town who came up here thinking he knows everything about everything, doesn't know jack shit.
Welcome to the Planet Mikey Show.
That's the voice of our upcoming guest. But first, before we get to him, and it's going to be the best podcast we've had in 10 years.
Oh, my God, Mike.
I must give some salutations to my sponsors, okay, real quickly, because they, although they don't pay the bills, they do give us free cakes. Pro Automotive.
If you've got trouble with your car, truck, or
Already?
SUV, Pro Automotive is
who to see.
Pro Automotive.
And Pro Automotive FM. ProAutomotiveMA.com. That's their website. They're great. The greatest mechanics in Massachusetts. There's no doubt about it. They're in they're in Dudley, and they're in 2 locations in Webster as well. Also, our favorite gun store, because sometimes people come in here, they want to shoot it up, and we got guns, so don't even think about it. Shawsheen Firearms and Bill Ricca. We also have a sponsor named My Grandma's Coffee Cake is the world's greatest coffee cake. There's no question about it. It's the greatest in the world, and everybody knows it, including not only Ben Kitchen, but his son Daniel.
That's right.
Mm-hmm.
He loves them.
He sent me a picture of his son Daniel with a big coffee cake in front of him. I said, that kid's after my own heart there. It's Ben Kitchen. It's Bill Smith. It's Planet Mikey here. And on the phone with us from Florida, one of my favorite all-time broadcasters and friends, Pete Sheppard, everybody.
Oh, God.
Oh, man, and you three are the best ever in the business. I can honestly say that. Now, I have an opening question.
Okay, sure.
For you three.
Okay.
I ended my show this morning at about 9:45 or 10 of whatever. And the report from Channel 4 in Boston about Cambridge and Dedham and Watertown, I think connected to someplace in East Virginia. Are your names going to be on this list when it gets surfaced about this brothel thing?
Oh, no,
Please
no.
tell me.
No.
Listen, a lot of prominent people are going to be on it.
No. We operate out of Framingham, so we're not on that list.
Yeah. Well, plus not only that, but I have a stage name I used in all of these illicit things like pornography, and my stage name is Dick Cannon. So if you see that name, give me a call back. Let me know. If that's out there, we're in trouble.
We had Mike was on my show last week, and we had a Dick conversation then. Dick Felt, the old Patriot player.
Yeah, Dick Felt.
Comparing Dick Felt, is it worse to be Dick Felt or Dick Trickle?
How about Dick Sweat?
Dick Sweat is even worse. And he's a politician,
Dick
too.
Sweat.
If I'm a politician, I change my name. Dick. I call myself Richie Sweat from now on if I had to do that. The last baseball Dick that I can remember was Dickie Thon. Do you remember him?
Dickie Fon, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway,
yeah.
Pete, we talked last week on your. Now you have the Pete Sheppard Show 7 to 10 in the morning, Monday through Friday, on the Coastal Sports Network.
Sports Network, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you pop up on my Twitter feed, and I just can't resist. I said I got to hear what Pete has to say today because he's the fantastic, bombastic Pete Sheppard.
Well, it's great being on the digital platform that I have, and Angel Martinez is a great producer. He does so much behind the scenes. He's in Tampa, I'm in Fort Myers, and it doesn't really matter. So we just talk about whatever the hell we want, and no restrictions, no stupid,
it's great
idiot radio consultants or some big mucky muck in these terrestrial radio stations that's going bankrupt.
Telling you what to do all the time.
Going to tell me what to do all the time, what to say. It's not like what to say, what to think. I got fucking octopus coming out of my ears. That kind of thing.
Well, that's the good news is that if they had let you go unbridled back at WEEI, you would have been the highest paid guy on the staff. You would have outscored.
Well, maybe if they paired us together, or you and me, Jerry Thornton, stuff like that. Maybe if they just listen to some other people, things with. But you know what? It's. You're better off, I'm better off, so it is what it is.
Yeah,
so,
and Fort Myers is great. You're down there in Fort Myers where I had my honeymoon, and we're next to Naples where my best friend lives. I go down there a lot, and we're going to get together. But the thing is that that's a beautiful place to live, and you're doing real well. You've been there, 6 years?
Almost 8.
Almost
8 years, yeah.
Wow, holy shit.
Yeah,
now,
I know. It flies by.
For those that don't know, Pete Sheppard, and all the WEI listeners, of course, know him because he started there, 1995, was it, Pete?
1995, yeah. 1995, doing sports flashes for actually 7 days a week. It was like Monday through Friday with Eddie and Dale, the old A-team, and then John Walker and I actually got a show together on Saturdays and Sundays. So I was working, doing the shows with him on weekends.
You carried
usually
him.
5-hour shows, and then during the week. So yeah, it was great.
You carried Wallach. You carried his ass, and it wasn't even funny. He just like he was like sitting there. Okay, Pete. Okay, whatever you say, Pete.
Why are you throwing shots at Wallach?
Yeah. What?
Why are you throwing shots at Wallach?
No, we were fine. We were fine together. It was fine. I think you're talking about Felger and Maz. That's what they do, right?
Oh well,
Mike says, Mike. Yeah, Mike. Mike.
Squeaky and the bitch. Now, Pete Sheppard, for those that don't know, went to Bishop Hendricken High School in Rhode Island, and you know who else went there? The coach of the Celtics.
Well, not only the coach of the Celtics, Joe Mazzulla, Rocco Baldelli. We have many athletes in all 4 major sports that are playing today: hockey, basketball, football, and baseball. Mr. King Stephen King out in San Diego did an unbelievable job with the Padres. He was playing for the Yankees. So I was blessed to go. I mean, I didn't start in any sports out there.
Well, weren't you a diver? You were, weren't you?
Yeah, for 1 year. Yeah, I drove on my high school swim team for 1 year.
And then you realized that there's more dives than just the cannonball.
No, actually, that was when I was pretty much a rail, and I lost almost 40 pounds since I've been down here. So it's not. But back then I was like a rail. I can send you pictures. And what happened was they took away the event my senior year in '85 because not enough pools were 10 feet or deeper, and there were a couple places that were too shallow, like in Barrington, there was only 8 feet. And I scraped my knuckles one day on it, and a couple other people did. It wasn't pleasant, but anyway.
Well, I never thought of you.
It was great.
At EEI, I never thought of you as fat because you really weren't. You were just big. You were just like a side of beef.
Oh no! I got way too big, way too big. So, but we took care of that mostly down here. And when I it started before I moved down, and then when I came down here, being outside and. In the summertime around here, you step outside, and lose 10 pounds.
So the thing about Pete Sheppard is that the one thing you can count on, and I've known him since 95, I guess, going back. Pete was always authentically opinionated. It was never a bullshit thing. It was like you felt the way you felt, and you just blurted it out, and everybody's kind of sometimes has to say, stand back, Pete's on a roll here. But you left EEI in 2010 when EEI said that they have challenging economic times, so they cut Pete Sheppard, one of the big personalities on the station.
I'll never forget. It was the night of the special election between Scott Brown and Elizabeth Warren. I still don't know how she won, but anyway, we digress. But I told you the first right after that, and I'm on my way home. My phone was ringing. Glenn had called, and I didn't want to talk to anybody. And I shut my phone off for a couple hours. And the first 2 people to call me in 2010, first one was Bill Belichick and the show Outrage and Support. And the second one was Scott Brown. They were the first 2 people that were on my voicemail list. Yeah.
The
Scott
senator?
Brown called. Yeah. Yep.
Hey, he's a good guy.
It was, we had just spoken for some reason very shortly before. But anyway, but they rehired me back twice.
Yes.
And then I left. The last time we left on good terms.
Well, so you blew up a bridge on the way out, which was hysterical, by the way. That sound is infamous. But wait a minute. So the first time was on the night of the special election?
Yeah, but that was the special election the night of Scott Brown and Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, okay. I was thinking
Monday.
In Japan, they have a night of a special erection. What? What's the matter, Ben?
I was pre-reacting.
You
to
saw
your
that
joke.
coming? You saw that coming a mile away?
A mile away.
So anyway, but Pete, one of the dumbest moves that WEEI ever made, aside from me and Smitty.
Well, they
and
claim it was financial. A lot of people would sign some big contracts around the company, so they claimed it was.
No.
Anyway, I saw the writing on the wall coming because. I remember going to management I remember going to Jason about 4 or 5 months earlier. He was always great to me, so I have nothing but good things to say about Jason.
Yep.
I'll tell you that.
The last great program.
I went to him and I said, "Let me." I could see the writing on the wall. I could see some people that were getting let go around nationally, and I was like, "Look, let me float around and forget stupid sports flashes, and let me float around and be like a third man in on all the shows, and I can, I'm flexible." He didn't want to do it. It wasn't where the company wanted to go. And it turns out, not too long after that, after I left, but that's what they let the late great Bob Newmeyer do. He ended up doing that. He ended up floating around to all the different shows after his show with Dale got broken up. Right. That was the funniest. You think my radio exit and my rant with David Portnoy back, and that was after 2010. That was right after that, so I was still very angry. But the best departure ever. Bill, you might have been there. Or you might have heard about it. I don't think Ben was. It was at one of the Super Bowls, and I think it was. When was Newmies last year? What Super Bowl was it? It might have been 07. We might have been in Phoenix. The perfect, and his contract didn't get renewed, and we were doing one of those events for the fans and the listeners, where they charge $250 and you get shitty chicken wings and
fan fest
and pasta,
right.
and it's some like stupid nutty fans would pay that money to come in. And I remember, they used to pair a couple of us that didn't work there. So like Meter and I did like 10 to noon. They were going to do like Glenn and Dale from noon to 2, and then we were all going to go party and everything else. Newbie just walks in and waves to everybody and walked right out, and that was it. That was his farewell. Goodbye. He was supposed to be on.
That sounds like how I left when I left New York City. The radio bitch Leslie Gold. They were talking about me on the air, how they were going to fire me because I was late. And so I walked up to the window. I finally got in the building. I finally got a cab. I walk up to the glass. They're on the air, and I just gave double fingers through the window, and I walked out and never went back. They mailed me my last check. Those pricks. Those pricks. So,
well, when you left WCCC, but you left on your own there, right?
Well, no. I left twice there. When I left WCCC, I went in there to get my stuff, and I went into the production studio and grabbed a cart out of the rack of a commercial I know runs at 7:25 in the morning every morning. I bulk erased it, and I recorded a goodbye message. So I knew the next morning at prime time they were going to play that card. It said, "Hey, it's the Beast of Breakfast, Mike Adams, and I don't work here anymore. And if you need me, I'll be home listening to WPLR," which was their competition.
Competition, yeah.
Oh, they went. And then the sign went up that morning. Mike Adams is not allowed to be anywhere in this building ever again, or you're fired. That was great. Yeah, I burned a few bridges myself. 18 radio jobs later. But Pete, football is your thing, one of them, and I got to ask you a couple football-related questions. First of all, did you also lose your ass on the Cincinnati Patriots matchup? Because I sure did.
No, I will tell you what. I stayed away from it. I thought about teasing it and doing a whole bunch of stuff, and I said I'm not going to touch it. But I pick against the spread every single week, as I've done the last couple of years. I keep track of everything. So I went, did all 16 games against the spread, because anybody can pick winners. So I went 10-5-1 last week,
That's
including 6-0-1 in the 4 o'clock to primetime games, including Sunday and Monday. So 10-5-1 I'll take. One of my losses was the Patriots.
Yep.
I did pick Cincinnati reluctantly. My other one I reluctantly picked was the Buffalo Bills. It just looked 6.5 looked like a crazy line to me.
Didn't the whole country pick
Arizona?
The whole country must have picked Cincinnati. Somebody made out on that.
No many survivor pools I know of that were lost in week 1 because the Patriots' offensive line was just outstanding, and defense played really well too. Obviously, a lot of people have been eating lots of crow this week, about, and me included a little bit. I didn't shit all over him as much as everybody else, because I'm like, let's wait before we start crapping over Gerard Mayo and all these other players. Let's just play a game first before a real game, not an exhibition game. Yeah. Let's play a real game. So I'm sure a lot of people around the country are eating a ton of crow. One game does not a season make, but they dominated in the trenches.
If you listen to me Saturday mornings 9 to 11 on 103.7 in Providence, I would have told you how to make money on that game, which is not to bet the spread or anything like that. The under.
Yeah. That was probably the bet.
Under.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
First couple of weeks of every season, just hammer the under.
Hammer the under.
Hammer the under.
Like
not only that, I think excuse me, I'm all choked up.
I'm sorry.
The lack of touchdown passes in the NFL this whole week. I think only 34 touchdown passes total were thrown. I think 2 years ago there were 61 on opening day.
Yeah.
There's not many people yesterday, between the weekend that threw over 200 yards. Not a lot. Very, very few throw over 250.
I did find a couple of favorite players yesterday, though. And I'm watching other games. I didn't really know who. I don't even know who the Patriot guys are anymore. It's because they're all different now, and the coach is different, and everybody but the owner is different. But I was watching the Detroit game. That guy David Montgomery, number 5.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He's unstoppable. He's unbelievable.
He's been a great player, and not just with the Lions too. I mean, he's been really. No, the Lions are solid. They're my NFC pick to go to the Super Bowl.
Yeah, I was rooting for them all the way, because it's been so long in Detroit. It's like, oh, gee, remember that song I did? I wonder why the Lions suck. Remember that one? I did it. Remember those that carry? I know, Smitty, you produced that.
I did
masterpiece.
That's right.
So Dave Montgomery. I mean, I was just watching him, guy. They couldn't tackle him, and he's like he's 5'11", 225. He's like a little block of granite. They can't bring him down. And the other guy that impressed me last night in the San Francisco game, Pete, was the guy that filled in for McCaffrey, Jordan Mason.
Oh, Mason, yeah, he was undrafted, undrafted out of college, Georgia Tech, I believe, and he was awesome, and he's probably going to start. He's going to start this week, I'm sure, because it certainly doesn't sound like McCaffrey's going to be ready. That is not just. He's got an Achilles problem attached to that injury, so it could be a while. Now they're going to get slapped on the wrist again by the NFL because they lied about in the injury report. Mason let the cat out of the bag last night, where he said he was told that he was going to be starting on Friday, and then Lynch comes out and says that no, that wasn't the case. I never said that. So the 49ers probably going to get slapped on the wrist for lying.
Well, and sometimes the medical issues people lie. Like when I got the job at EEI, I lied on my drug test. I said, no, I don't smoke weed. What are you talking about? And then Julie Kahn said, well, man, you came in from the parking lot yesterday. You sure smelled like you do. Anyway, how about did you hear Tom Brady's debut? And what did you, as a broadcaster, what is your perspective on how Brady did? Because I didn't really mind it. I mean, he didn't sound like, the smoothest guy in the world, but it's his first time.
It wasn't good, but there were reasons behind it that people don't understand, and I brought up the reasons today. He's got restrictions, and I'll tell you what. He's got massive restrictions because he's still looking to be a minority owner for the Raiders, and with that comes a ton of restrictions.
Right.
He can't attend production meetings. He can't contact players or people on other teams. He can't watch a lot of film. He can't criticize the officials. Cannot criticize the officials. Not allowed to.
Yeah, so that alone
is taken off that list. So there's a lot. I mean, I still think he could have been better. I think he will get better. But now that I found that out late last night that he had all these restrictions, you got to cut him a little bit of slack because you're not privy to what everybody else is privy to.
Yeah, but even with the
production meetings are huge.
Even with the restrictions, he gets $375 million for 10 years.
Yeah, right. That's shit money.
What surprises me about Fox, that I know Fox thinks they're going to get more viewers by naming him the number one analyst, but knowing that he has all those restrictions, at least for the time being, they probably still should have went with Greg Olson as the number one guy because he's clearly more seasoned.
Well, when will it be settled on his ownership? I mean, when will they be able to figure out as a broadcaster what he can and can't do under this?
Well, if he gets that. If he ends up being a minority owner of the Raiders, then that changes everything. And if he doesn't, then he can start going to meetings and have more access to the to game day film and all the other stuff. I had a list of that. I had the story up. I actually got a lot of it from Barrett Sports Media. They had a whole breakdown of it. It was really good.
Brian Barrett's pretty good with the details, isn't he?
Yeah, he's very good. Yeah. But when he has all those restrictions, so you got to cut him a little bit of slack. But he could have been better. He had the Micah Parsons thing, dead on, balls accurate, to quote Mona Lisa Vito.
Yeah.
I mean, he had that right on as far as Deshaun Watson, who looks like absolute shit out there. And I know his dad died, and one of his teammates had passed away, former teammate. But now the allegations come to fruition again today that he's in trouble again. So we'll see. More sexual allegations against Deshaun Watson. So if it's going to be time for Stefanski, I think, to really start looking at Jameis Winston to play.
Yeah. Deshaun Watson, he's going to be out of football soon, and then I can do what I always planned on doing with him and hook him up with my sister. Just for fun, see what happens there. Now you mentioned Belichick called you. I've always loved Belichick, but he's been taking shit in Boston and elsewhere around the country, actually, and on the internet for the longest time. I still say, look at the resume, look at the period of time he did it. He did it during the free agency and the salary cap era, picking last every year because the Patriots finished high in the standings. He had a lot of things rushing against him, but he got all those rings. How can people sit there and say, "Oh, Belichick"? I feel like they should tell him, "Shut the fuck up." He's the greatest coach that ever lived.
The worst sports argument, and thank God I didn't have to deal with it down here, is Brady. Belichick would be nothing. If it wasn't for Belichick, Brady would be nothing. No, how many times do they have to say how much they complimented each other? And
Right.
people forget he rebuilt that team 3 different times, 3 different eras, really.
Right.
Over 20 years, 3 different times that team was rebuilt.
Successfully,
And it resulted in a whole
yeah.
bunch of Super Bowls and could have resulted in a couple of more had the ball bounced this way or that way. But that's neither here nor there. It will never be done again.
And normally-
never be done again. And he was also executive of the year 3 years ago, which a lot of people forget.
And the normal
Or 4
rebuild
years ago.
process is a long process. At 3 to 5 years, sometimes for many teams, he had to repeat that thing over and over again for 20 years and be that successful. I can't believe people crap on that guy. It's awful. I hate that.
Yeah, well, I love all the media stuff he's doing now on ESPN, on the Manning cast last night, and I think he's been really, really good.
Yeah.
I thought it was hysterical last week. He does that thing with Matt Patricia, and they're breaking down Patriots draft picks and everything else and signings.
Right.
People that they brought over is funny.
So now you're in Florida for 8 years, and so what do you follow the Florida Gulf Coast basketball team?
Oh yeah. I mean, but they're not.
Faguku.
You know, they had a bad year last year. The girls did okay. But no, I mean, it's not like we don't have. They're one of the few Division I basketball teams. They might be the only one that actually does not have a radio contract. It's
Right.
ridiculous. They're only on digital, which is still stunning to me. But no, it's a good institution.
It's a good school.
I don't know how anybody graduates over there. I mean, the campus is beautiful. You have water views, the dorm rooms. I mean, I don't know how people can study and graduate from places like that. No, but it's a good institution. They always have a good baseball team too. The volleyball teams are really good, beach volleyball and regular volleyball.
Well,
But
and
no,
the girls,
I
I got to tell you, the girls on that campus, I've watched a lot of games there with my buddy because he's a season ticket holder there, and the girls are really hot.
Yep.
In fact, if you go to Florida Gulf Coast University, it would be hard to be queer.
Well, and their softball team is a great softball team that's made the NCAA tournament. I usually have the coach on once a year. He's been there forever. Great guy. But yeah, I mean, the Florida sports we talk about around here are the University of Miami,
Yep.
Florida State, Florida Gators, USF, sprinkle in once in a while a little FAU, but not really. It's more the big three, sometimes UCF, but the Hurricanes, the Gators, and Florida State, those are the big topics.
And who's the
which
pro
I
team
love.
in South Florida that everybody watches the most?
It is where I am in Southwest Florida.
Yeah.
It's a total mismatch. I mean, in college, there's probably more Ohio State fans down here than there are in Columbus. It's unbelievable. Of course, you have your Florida fans, different, Gators, Hurricanes, Seminole. You have all of that. But the great thing about down here is there's a mishmash of everybody. The pro teams down here range from, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Miami, to everybody else. There's a ton of Patriot fans down here. There's a ton of Steelers fans down here. So it's never all the same topic. There's just a lot of versatility down here. There's a Steelers bar. There's an Eagles bar. There's a Patriots bar. There's a Green Bay Packer bar. You can go to a specialized bar if you like, but every sports bar down here, and I mean everyone, has a sports package. So you can go into any bar on a Sunday or Saturday and watch any college game or any NFL game that you want and have the best happy hours on the planet.
A lot of screens.
Well, you have happy hours at 7 o'clock in the morning for $2 drinks and well drinks and everything else. And then you have all day happy hour or from 11 a.m. until 7 p.m. I mean, it's just amazing. And you guys can't get a free chicken wing up there.
No, but there's so many old people down there. I know they have the late night happy hour. They serve only prune juice, and it's called crappy hour.
Yeah. Well, like I said, Naples is very different than where I am in Fort Myers. Fort Myers, Estero, Cape Coral, Bonita Springs. It's very different. It might be a little old. It's still, I'm 57 years old. I'll always be, 18 years old up in my head. So it's all about that. And I've made some of the best friends I've ever had in my life down here.
Good.
Many of them from New England, because just by chance, it's really been something. So we party it up every single Sunday watching football.
That's great.
Rotating houses. It's great. It's fantastic.
My best friend lives on Naples National. I mean, it's a gorgeous course, and it's a very expensive neighborhood, and he's an awesome guy. When I get down there and we see you, we're going to play golf. I've been saying this, but I never can hook up with you. I got to get this thing organized before I come down there so we can play. Hey, Pete, I got the news segment of the podcast, so feel free to stay with us and comment on any of these unbelievable news stories. And now,
the news.
The news, or as they say in Brooklyn, the news. Philadelphia, Dateline, hundreds of people in various states of undress cruised the streets of Philadelphia to cheers from onlookers Saturday evening in the 15th annual Philly Naked Bike Ride.
Oh.
I know. It's gross, isn't it?
Yeah.
You know, what I don't like is when some of those weird guys go by and they don't have any seats on the bike. They
Of course, seats.
The annual ride, which started in 2009, is billed as promoting cycling as a key form of transportation. Organizers stress that it's not just body positivity that they're stressing. Participants aren't required to ride completely in the buff, telling them to get as, quote, bare as you dare, mon frere. And they welcome all forms of scooters, and they make sure that they bar any physical or sexual harassment, which is hard to do sometimes.
How do you do that? How do you bar that? How many miles is that thing?
It's 12 miles, 19 kilometers if you're going, the metric system. They go down. I hate
the metric system.
They go down the Benjamin.
I fucking hate the metric system.
I do too. They go down the Benjamin Franklin Parkway. By the way, Benjamin Franklin, he got laid a lot. You know why? He'd pull out $100 bill and he'd go, "Hey, lady, see that? See that? That's me. That's me on that 100 right there. You want this 100? Just don't give me syphilis like that French whore did." Remember that story? Here's another story. It's about Sam the kitty cat man. Sam the kitty cat man is an actual cat that disappeared 11 years ago. His owner, Jennifer Ravenel, couldn't even hold another cat in her lap without breaking down. And
wasn't in Springfield, Ohio, was it?
No, but I got that coming up.
Okay.
That's coming up, too, that story.
Sorry for interrupting. Go ahead.
But she rescued this cat from the crook of a tree a long time ago, and she loved that cat, and it disappeared, right? It was gone. But guess what? Because she had inserted a cat chip in the cat's... I mean, how much it cost to put a chip in your cat so you don't lose your cat? That's what she did.
You all right there? What was that?
Anyway, so he disappeared 11 years ago. They found him, scanned him, and then she got him back, and she says, "I thought y'all were playing a prank on me because it couldn't be possible, but this is a miracle in itself."
That's going to be a good book, Return of the Pussy.
I was going to call it Chasing Pussy for 11 years, but then she missed him, though, and she kept a litter box for him until he got back, and then she was so happy that she took a piss in there. All right, so now, Springfield, Ohio. My wife is from a couple towns over. My wife's from near Dayton, and this town.
Yeah, I heard you had issues coming back not too long ago.
Oh yeah, couldn't get back on that glitch day. But in Springfield, Ohio, they got other issues that are even bigger. A resident has claimed that Haitian immigrants have been decapitating ducks in public parks and eating them. Did you ever decapitate a duck, Pete?
No, I've seen it done on one of Gordon Ramsay's shows when he was in Asia.
Yeah, I bet you choked a chicken, though.
They owned a restaurant. And they bled the duck to death and then cooked it. But
these guys are ripping the heads off.
They're ripping the heads off ducks
in front of children.
Oh, that's awful.
It's terrible. So the legal influx of Haitian immigrants, which is, we have it here in Massachusetts really bad as well. But this town, a town of 48,000 people, they now have 12,000 Haitians. 20,000 Haitians.
Yeah.
Wow.
I don't want to shortchange them.
Where's this, Quincy?
No, this is in Springfield, Ohio.
Oh.
And here's the quote. These Haitians are running into trash cans. They're running into buildings. They're flipping cars in the middle of the streets. And they're ripping the heads off ducks right on our streets of Springfield. Springfield, Ohio is a flashpoint. Yeah, the Haitian immigrants arrived in 2020 to fill job vacancies, but now...
Wait, how did they get there? Why
I don't know.
Who allowed them in?
I don't know, but, no one's going to Haiti as a reverse on that. No one goes to Haiti because if you look at the rivers there, they're all filled with garbage flowing down the river.
Yep.
And people living on the streets. It's like San Francisco.
Yeah, it really is amazing because next door is the Dominican, which I love, and I'm actually going there on a little vacation in late October for a few days because, I love the Dominican. You've been there many times, Michael. I've been there many times.
Punta Cana.
I love it.
Yeah. It's right on the same island. They have a nice little resort. Everybody speaks Spanish. It's beautiful. Then you go over to Haiti where they speak 5 different languages and they eat Creole food and they don't flush their toilets. And it's like I think it was Donald Trump that said, why are all these people coming here from shithole countries? Well, if there is a shithole country, I know they had earthquakes and hurricanes, but it's a shithole.
There's a difference between civilization and being uncivilized.
That's part of the problem.
Yep.
And my final news story. A Mexican city hosted a successful attempt for a tasty Guinness World Record, the world's largest string cheese ball. And if anybody knows about cheese balls, it's me. The name of this town is Oaxaca.
It's called Oaxaca.
Oh, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
I call it Oaxaca.
That's good.
Oh, hello, olive oil. Anyway, they teamed up to organize this record attempt. The cheesemakers used a rotating table. These guys have their act together to create the massive string cheese ball, which is also known as the cheese. The finished ball, listen to this. The finished ball broke the record, 1,402 pounds of cheese.
Wow. Oh, my God.
That's what Oprah leaves that behind after she leaves Milwaukee every year. 1,402 pounds of cheese. It took 2,641 gallons of milk to create the cheese.
There you go. Oprah, you get a cheese stick. You get a cheese stick.
And the cows are going, would you please stop pulling on my udder? It's killing me with your stupid fucking cheese ball, idiots. So that's the news on the Planet Mikey podcast. Now, Pete, we have always had a special place on this podcast for Italians, and you being Italian, we welcome you to that. Yep. You've been on before, but we've had.
I am. I'm full.
John Fiore, Enrico Petroselli. Everybody. Yeah. Every time we have an Italian in here, it's a special occasion for us.
Nice.
So what I've done for you is I've gotten 2 other Italian guys to do a dedicated song for you because they're Italian and you're Italian as part of our Castiglioke presentation. So thanks for being on the show. I want you to stick around and listen to this tribute.
Yes,
okay,
I will.
From Joe and Jerry, 2 Italian dudes, for Pete Sheppard, our pal in Southwest Florida. Here we go.
All right.
True? Oh, well, I'm the kind of guy who will never settle down where pretty girls are. Well, you know that I'm around. I kiss them and I love them, because to me they're all the same, Joe. I hug them and I squeeze them. They don't even know my name. They call me the Wanderer. Yeah, the Wanderer. I roam around. Oh, well, Flo on my left, there's Mary on my right, and Janie is the girl who tells me that she's tight. When she asks me, the one I love the best, I tear open her shirt, and I say, oh, what's that on your chest? I'm a wanderer, the wanderer. I roam around. Oh, well, I roam from town to town. I go through life without a care. I'm happy as a clown with my 2 fists of iron. but I'm going nowhere.
Oh, yeah, I'm the kind of guy who likes to roam around, Joe. I'm never in one place.
That's yours.
I roam from town to town. And when I find myself falling for some girl, I hop right into that car of mine and I drive around the world.
You're a wanderer, True. A wanderer. You roam around.
You know, Joe, the guy that sang this song is Italian. Dion DiMucci. Did you know that?
Of course I know that. Everybody knows about Dion DiMucci. He was a bop-to-bop singer on the streets of New York.
Yeah, I don't know whatever happened to him.
Well, he's probably constipated right now.
One more verse.
Oh, yeah! I'm the kind of guy that likes to roam around. I'm never in one place. I roam from town to town.
I myself falling for some girl, Joe. I hop into the car of mine and then she shuts me down again. I'm the wanderer. Yeah, the wanderer. I roam around, just like Pete Sheppard has done in his career.
He's in Florida now, you know.
Yeah, Pete Sheppard. Good man, good man.
The end.